Awesome. It says we're live here. Honestly, I've got a good group already in here. If you guys could be so kind as to give me a sound check, if you would, please. The first thumbs up that I see will give me some indication that I've got the plumbing right on the Independent Investor Channel live stream. We've done a significant upgrade on the channel. So if I can get the first thumbs up there, if you guys are hearing this and the volume is coming through correct, that's awesome. Jason, thank you. I appreciate that sound check. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow, certainly. I think it's going to be something special. I think me and you are going to put together a product that's going to be something special together. I'm a firm believer in that. I really am. I've got a lot of new subscribers, obviously, this week. I'm full throttle on the Independent Investor Channel. I've definitely found a nerve of motivation. Absolutely. Lots of topics to push out, deep thinking topics. Certainly there's some themes to allow my creativity to fill a couple days during the week with some topics that I feel really are just educational. And I understand that doesn't appeal to everybody. However, I'm just one voice, just one. That's it. Okay. And I don't have all the answers. I just have my perspective. And been a lot of folks come onto the channel that I haven't really recognized from this week. I've got some really, really kind comments, that of which I'm going to read one of them, an individual who never really leaves that many comments. But I really appreciated some of the feedback that I got this week. I'd like to pulse in with this audience. Certainly, there's a lot of folks in here that are really like my brothers and sisters in investing, no doubt about it. I really enjoy this break for myself to come on and talk about investing. I do nothing but validate. It's not like I turn investing off when I turn this off, okay? I speak with colleagues at work, and I'm willing to help anybody when they come and they ask me, but it's amazing to me how often the validation is provided for me about how much improvement we could have on our financial awareness. And I know the title of this video is Investing for Regular People. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's a compliment. It really is. Regular people, man, to me, it's very, very deep to me. I've said it many times. I didn't grow up with money. If I did, I would hope to be the same quality individual that I am now and have a deeper appreciation for working towards something and really having to take those extra concerted efforts to identify an edge. I see all the time. I look at folks who I know make less than I do, and they go and they buy that $300,000 house, and they've got two beautiful cars in the driveway. And I think that's a huge reason why the United States in specifically gets kind of a bad rap, because we're so busy being stressed out, keeping up with the Joneses, because our car in our parking lot or in our driveway isn't quite as good as the neighbors. I think there's a ton of folks out there, really the root of this country specifically, not to get on a little bit of a soapbox, but there's some great people in this country, just great people. And those are the people that I advocate for, hard working. I have folks that hit me up that listen to this live stream when they're driving the highways, man, truck driving communities, folks that are blue collar workers that are just looking for a strategic edge. And I think one of the things that regular people, regular investors can do for themselves is not tell themselves that they'll never have the opportunity for great successes and wealth in their future. I think you could turn around that mentality sometimes and use it as the very fuel that motivates you to seek out those angles. Okay. I've spent just a touch of time this week, a little bit more than average, monitoring the landscape. I came out with my investor profile video this week. I've been wanting to do that for a while. I was glad to do it. I think that would have helped a lot of people to have somebody like myself sit across and say, it's okay. It's okay if you want to invest this way or that way. I will contend that there are a lot of different styles out there. Some are not correct. I'm not one of those guys that's going to come onto YouTube and tell you that every investing style is going to render success. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite of that. Okay. There's a lot of folks out there with enormous channels, enormous. And I watched about 4 minutes and I had to turn it off. Sure, he was a great creator. Done collaborations with people that I know. Okay. But in 4 minutes, there was about $10,000 on the table, and there was, in a matter of minutes, an $800 loss. I think at that young of an age, I think I don't question somebody going after and taking some shots in life. Okay. I don't question the work ethic either. What I question is the amount of influence that has over people that are tuning into that message. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that are tuning into that message. And in my assessment, it's a zero-sum game. What I mean by that is you could take 100, you could take 1,000, you could take 10,000 students and run them through the same lesson, and you would have a very, very small success ratio come out of however aggressive you can offer your tutelage. That's what you want to call it, honestly. I've contended many, many times that the stock market is not a game. It's not a game. It's serious business. It is, in fact, a luxury. It doesn't need to be for regular people something that they are scared away from. It really needs to be something, by necessity, something that we all embrace. It is. Okay. Now, wealthy folks, they don't need to be as aggressive on this stuff. They have a head start. Okay. If you have wealth, it provides you a lot of freedom in life. No doubt about it. Okay. I'm pursuing wealth. Make no mistake. I am. I'm not doing YouTube to pursue wealth. I'm pursuing my own happiness in my own ways, lots of different channels. But if you have money, you have that head start. Okay. Regular people need to work a little bit harder. Okay. And what I see all the time is the opportunity for wealthy people to become part of a hedge fund so they can be out there on the golf course bragging to all their friends that they're part of this hedge fund, and they don't know the first thing about what's going on within that hedge fund. Okay. And that's why we work so aggressively on the independent investor channel. And I know there's some folks in the community as well who are looking to support that message and look to exploit every little advantage that we can possibly extract from the market. Okay. And furthermore, the strategic advantage that a lot of people look for through a financial planner is one of those things that I absolutely want people to challenge, question, and if you come to the same validation as me, do away with. Okay. I don't see that there is a whole lot of value. Now, if there is value provided enough to where that value is going to provide over and above performance in the stock market, over and above what we can look to render from the stock market by talking about the products that we talk about, the ETF index funds to start for a beginning investor. We talked about it this week. It guarantees that you match the market. Okay. And this is something that gets kicked to the curb. It's not sexy enough. People want to tune in and watch a YouTube creator lose $800 in a matter of minutes. That's exciting. That's an adrenaline thing. No emotion in investing. Okay. You've heard the old cliche, but there's nothing more appropriate than applying that very rationale. You may put some work in up front to get your program correct. But once that work is put in up front, investing done passively is boring. Okay. You can come onto the independent investor channel and we can talk and we can have fun and we can try to further on the discussion, and we will continue to do that. All right. But investing done correctly, you don't need to try to make it more than what is, you don't need to make it try to make it more than what the stock market has to deliver. And you can build the machine and you can have 6 screens to do your stock trading. But just keep in mind, if you're trying to scale that program for yourself, the success ratio is almost down to nothing. Most people will fail. And for the people that do have a short stint of time where there's an element of luck to it, there really is. That element of luck can really get on a hot streak. Okay, you can be at the roulette table and enjoy the same phenomenon. Unfortunately, a lot of folks get caught up in that and they think that they can duplicate that luck, and the house owns you at that point. Okay, trading is no different. All right. So I think the question when we talk about becoming defining your investor profile, and you're looking to go between either an active or a passive investor, um, the active investor is one of those that I talk about. And I'm very, very close to the vest. I contend that most new investors really shouldn't entertain that unless they've got some other layer in their financial makeup, whether it be the 401, okay, or they've got a pension coming. I explained all this to you guys. I try not to come on YouTube and just say, I do this, therefore you can do it, and there it is. I try to give you some justification as to why I take a little bit more aggressive posture in my retirement accounts. And I think a lot of you guys can sit across and say, I get that. I get where he's coming from. I have a little bit more income than Ryan does, or I don't have quite the buffer that Ryan does, or it just gives you kind of a benchmark to know where my opinion's coming from. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It is what it is. And it gives you something to kind of weigh against. All right. Because I'm with the regular people crowd. I certainly am. And I'm proud of it. I really am. I know there's a lot of folks out there that maybe just need a little extra incentive. I've got some of that validation back. I'm now got my third comment with someone who says that they wouldn't have reached their first 25,000 bucks without finding the channel. I don't know how much of that's true, to be honest with you. I just take the comment at face value. And if there's a little bit of motivation that I can get from that, I freaking will, because I'm going on over 300 videos on YouTube. And, I'll take that motivation, because here's the thing. There's enough investing channels on YouTube. Okay. There's enough. Everybody out there wants to start an investing channel and push out their opinion. I think that's great. Okay. But me personally, I would not do it unless I thought I had something unique. I wouldn't do it. No way. Time away from my kids, time away from my life, a lot of time devoted to this process and to this program. The very thing that keeps me going is the very essence of why I started the channel from video one. And that is, and I said it in that video, I said that I wanted to be able to empower investors. Okay. And when somebody hits me up and says, Ryan, you changed my life, that's very, very powerful. It really is. And YouTube allows that opportunity to happen. All right. We're probably going to hope to make a little magic tomorrow night. We've got something special planned. So I want you to stay tuned with that. Myself and JMac Investing have something planned for tomorrow. That is solidified unless there's any conflict. I don't mean to put him on the spot, certainly. But look at a product that we're going to put out, because I do believe that the results that we can produce together are far greater than we can produce on our own, even though this is a self-directing investing channel, no doubt about it. So he says it's go time. Right on, man. Yeah, I don't. He was like, you want to do something tomorrow? I was like, yeah, sure. I thought, I don't have a secretary, Jason. I'm just a regular fella, man. These people that are so busy never to have any time to do anything, I don't know. They just bother me. I got all kinds of time, man. And if I didn't, I would make time. But if I said I didn't have any time, I'd be lying. I'm a pretty happy fella. So I really am. It's great to have everybody on the channel tonight. Little bit of change, obviously, on the live stream. If I had it my way, I'd be sitting in my own office doing the live stream. But obviously, there's some lighting changes, and hopefully I'm going to play back a little bit of this, because I'm interested in how the sound is coming through for the folks that treat this like a podcast and they let it play. through the headphones on the iPhone or the smart device. This should be as crystal clear as you can possibly get. At least I paid a pretty penny for this microphone that's sitting in front of me. So welcome to everybody. I'm really glad to see everybody. All right. Let's get to the group here. Honestly, the theme tonight, and I'll come back to it. Honestly, the regular investor thing, it's something that, when I talk to regular investors, people who have money are more money aware. I think people who are working and they're preoccupied with life and things like that, to their defense, don't have a lot of time. To be honest with you, we need to try to find that time. We really do. This week's series is going to be, I'm going to be breaking some stuff down, okay? And we're going to be getting into what it really takes, what the minimum level of salary or minimum level of income is necessary to participate in the stock market, okay? I'm not going to blow smoke at my audience. You guys need, you need money to make money. But that's a cliche that can turn a lot of new investors off because they say, well, I don't have a lot of money. I only make X amount of dollars per month. I don't have it. That's not true. I don't affix any dollar to that type of line of thinking. It's relative. What I mean by that is, if you want to make investing a priority, you absolutely can. And that's why I share the reality that when I started, it was with 25 bucks a month. And I throw that out there because I know there's probably somebody on the other line that's listening and saying, geez, what $25, Ryan? That's not really that much. Like, I don't get it. It's not till we run through the compounding exercise that we can show you what that means in the future. And then it starts to strike up that creative thought to be like, you know what, maybe he's interested. 25 is going to render me X amount down the line. Maybe I can do a little more. How does that change the figures in the compounding projection going forward? And that's where the psychology and the evolution of the investor starts. That's where the excitement of it starts. Okay. And I talk about this all the time. It's a weird phenomenon. It really is. If you look for the validation day to day, you're going to be like, why the hell am I investing? I don't get it. My account doesn't move. What's going on here, Ryan? Man, I've been watching you for 3 years and my portfolio is only up 8%. I don't know, but it's just amazing how the longer you stick with your program, you'll look in on it one day and you'll be like, wow, it used to be at $3,000. Now it's at 16 grand. I've funded it aggressively. I've maybe put my tax return, maybe a couple grand or a grand in there when it came time to tax time. It hurt to do it because I didn't get to go buy that television or put a down payment on a new car. But I would have done something else with the money. But now look at what I've got. I started the account and I don't remember the evolution from 3 to 16, but look at me. I'm here. And this is part of where I come from when I get a little bit, it touches me for sure when I get those comments, man, where they're just like, yeah, I've been funding it just like you said I could fund the account. I started it off with X amount and now look at me. I'm up above 25 grand. That's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about empowering people. You guys know that when you come into the independent investor channel, I'm not selling you a course. I'm gonna give you the course for free because everything that I talk about is readily available. Okay. You don't need to pay somebody to come on and tell you about the self-directed investing program. Now, with that said, I'm providing a hell of a service because I'd be hard pressed, or you'd be hard pressed to go talk to the majority of your networks, and they just know all the ins and outs about investing on your own. Okay, if I'm the only one, please tell me, but I don't think that I am. A lot of people don't know about this. Okay, and I contend that the very nature of the financial business, keeping their thumb on the individual investor and not advertising this, renders a lot more opportunity for guys like me to come on and promote the program for folks And it's even more powerful when people take that message and initiate it, and they're experiencing that compounding growth of their unobstructed dollars in their account. It's really quite powerful, powerful stuff. And I'm glad to deliver the message. It's simple in nature. It's not complicated. The one of the two out of the three revenue streams on the Independent Investor channel are the affiliate links. Okay, and there's a history behind that. The history exists. When I started the account, I was with Merrill Edge. I was already up above my $25,000 threshold in my Roth IRA. Pretty certain that's about where I was, maybe 30 range. I don't know. But I was above that threshold for some free entry and exit, and people came onto the channel and they were confused about how I could so aggressively enter and exit stock. I had people coming in, they're like, Ryan, why don't you do Robinhood? Okay, that's another conversation for another day. Robinhood is pretty, okay, but they don't offer Roth IRAs. Come talk to me later. That's not what I'm after. Robinhood really got a lot of people in trouble. I mean, I had one individual hit me up and said, Ryan, I've got 300 to 400 trades on the books for this week. What do I do? Or this year, what do I do? And I said, well, you've got 300 or 400 taxable events. They'll report every single one of those sell points. Okay, they don't account for the buy points. They just account for the sell points. That's what will get reported to the IRS. So unless dollars, but you need to go in there and prove to the IRS that you bought it at $100. Otherwise, you'll have the range from $0 to $150 to prove, and all that's taxable in the short term. That's what people didn't understand. They were getting into Robinhood and they were like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I can trade stock every freaking day. I'm retiring. I'm done. Robinhood has saved my life, right? People were firing away 30 stock trades a day. Boom, 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 boom. All short-term capital gains, baby. Yeah, a lot of people hit me up and they were like, Ryan, what do you do? And I said, well, I can't sit here and be a hypocrite and tell you that that's not a mistake that I didn't get involved with, because I did. And I had to pay an accountant to go do the this is the 1099XX, I believe. I believe it was a mess. It really was. It was tough. I had to go back and get out of Hawk because the IRS sent me a bill for, I think it was $5,500 on an account that I didn't have. I had lost money in. It was wild. Yeah, it's guerrilla math. The IRS for you. So a little bit of backstory on why I'm so aggressive about keeping the government out of my nookers. Yeah, real stuff. Good stuff, guys. All right, I'm going to cruise in here and acknowledge some of the folks in the group. There's been quite a community building up while I've been on my rant. I do apologize, but I can pull all kinds of cool stories out of the archives. You guys should hear my fishing stories. They're all true. None of them fabricated. So appreciate you guys coming in and helping support the group. Michael Raver's been with me a while. He says America, no doubt. Appreciate that. Bristol Myers Squibb, honestly, up above 50. Healthcare took a nice jump today. I took some profit today. I've been taking profit over the last couple days, actually, locked in significant profit over the last couple days. Boosted up the cash to around 30% in the portfolios, 60 in equities, and 10% in fixed. Fixed income was the only up bright spot in the portfolio today. A little bit of down in the portfolio today. It was all over the place as the Chinese wanted to skip over Montana. I'm not really sure why they did that, but the market decided to just that canceled trip cost me about $269 because the Chinese didn't want to see the beautiful state of Montana. It's unfortunate, but anyway, I did want to reduce some exposure in the portfolio, and for you guys that want to say, well, Ryan, you want to be a long-term investor, blah, 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 and this and that. These are sections of my portfolio that I take profit. And here's the thing, guys, and I'll disclose this, and I know you guys will respect this because we're all friends in the community. What I do with my portfolio is my business, and I'm very transparent with my business, okay? But when I say to each his own and to everybody, no portfolio has to be the same. If you're working with less than $25,000 in your portfolio, stay the course. Okay, it's not going to do you any good to try to finagle and time the market and take a few $100s of profit here, there, in, out, this and that. Don't try to play that game. Um, I've still got $130,000 invested, so it's not as if I have $8 in the account and I've taken $5 of profit. Okay, it's got me a little bit. I'm not liking what I'm seeing from this market. Now the economy is fine, but the stock market seemingly to me is it rendered for me the opportunity to take a dab of profit. Okay. Went ahead and took some profits in Medtronic. I was up 22% in Medtronic. Went ahead and sold the whole position. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what I did. 22% rendered. 13.5% up in Prudential. I was heavy in my financials. So I went ahead and took the profit in Prudential. I took a good run up in BlackRock, about 5%. I went ahead and took that entire position off the table as well. Kept my 5 major banks: JP Morgan, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and one other. I don't remember. Maybe it's 4. Maybe it's 4 major banks: Citigroup, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Bank of America. And I think that might be it for financials there. Yeah, it might be. But I was looking pretty good in the financial sector, took some exposure off in industrials, took some excellent profit in Lockheed Martin, took some excellent profit in Raytheon, took some profit off the table in Northrop Grumman, all phenomenal companies. Okay. Could have kept them, didn't, took them off the table. I was overexposed in industrial, so I had the opportunity to take some profits off the table in the industrial sector. I did take some off the table. I sold Merck yesterday. Unfortunately, healthcare got a nice nod today. No big deal. I fight to live another day. I live to fight another day. But anyway, no position was rendered without realizing some profit and got some cash on the side, which is fine. I'm good with that. I'll continue to monitor the market. Just a feeling of mine, perhaps, maybe the sixth sense, perhaps. And I understand I can't teach that stuff. I can't. But for the size of my portfolio relative to the moves that I'm making, I do think they are justified in that I've got those other accounts that are working quite well for me from a passive perspective. I'm happy with building those up. And the next round, if we ever do enter into a bear market recession, something of the sort, I'll be looking to exploit opportunities within those accounts that were declared to you guys in the M1 finance account and the first trade account, 5,200 in the first trade account, 1,800 and change in the M1 finance account. I'll be boosting those up when I feel like the market is more conducive to aggressive buying, which I do not believe that it is now. I've got Sarah Logston in the group here who's excited to come on. She's actually at work joining the live stream. Sarah's been with me for a long time, no doubt. It's cool to see these loyal subscribers that have been with me for multi-years. It means a lot to me to continue to support the message. And for that, the very least I can do is continue to support you guys. All right. Provide the opportunity for you to come on and say hello. Christopher Blaine, I assume the kids are in bed. So it's great coming on and spending some time with us here in the community. JMac Investing, dividend growth, all good. It's all good, he says. It is all good. He's probably having a beer, probably, which sounds pretty good right now. I'm having an ice water. I'm being pretty aggressive tonight with my libation, but I probably deserve something a little more stiff than that. So, but it's great to see Jason. Looking forward to tomorrow. Looking forward. Those collaborations are a lot of fun. They really are. They're a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I haven't done very many. I've done 2 collaborations with the same channel creator. Pretty small channel. Ryan Scribner. He's pretty small. He's only got about 500,000 subscribers. So he's relatively tiny. Doesn't have quite the girth that the Independent Investor channel has, no, I'm just kidding. But I really wouldn't trade my subscriber base for anybody, to be honest with you. I don't care about the subscriber count. I don't care. What I care about is loyalty, not to me, but to the message and to yourself. That's it. That's it. And if you want to kick on here and show a dab of appreciation, I'm all about that. Throw some comments my way, no doubt about it. I know I run the risk of doing daily uploads, and I'd like your guys' opinions, certainly. That would be my one ask tonight for payment for my time, is to give me your opinion on what you think of the daily uploads. I have a split opinion. I can certainly do it. I put myself on a very regimented schedule to do that, but I'm not sure if it annoys the subscriber base. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I was going to throw a statistic or one of the surveys up and really get a good count, because I'm very interested to know if you would rather see an every other day schedule or a weekend heavy schedule or something like that. Because I've got a couple pulses from people that are like, wow, this is Jesus, you're killing it, Ryan. If you appreciate it, great. I think Google, honestly, that's what they expect, really. So I'm kind of running an experiment right now, which is fine. I mean, they pissed off the wrong guy. So I'm running an experiment with Google and trying to kick them in the rear, and see if they can't recognize me. If not, no big deal. I mean, my recognition, again, is with the loyal people who come on and they consume the content. And that's quite frankly where I owe all the loyalty anyway. But we're running a little experiment in the meantime. All right. So I've got all good who's laughing out loud because I'm such a funny fella. It's my dry humor that really gets to people. So just be careful. All right. All right. You'll have a sore stomach after watching the Independent Investor Channel live stream, no doubt. I entertain myself. I really do. Anyway, it says, looking forward to seeing the new setup. I did. I got the new mic. Hopefully this is coming through. This is an investment in the channel. I'm lit up like a Christmas tree. Honestly, these LEDs are crazy. Maybe I could dial these in a little bit better, but $175 on the LEDs. I still have my original lighting collection. And then about $70 on this crazy looking, it looks like a Star Wars character, honestly, this microphone. But I don't really care as long as you guys, I know a lot of you guys use the earbuds. A lot of you millennials, okay, you use the earbuds. So hopefully my voice is coming through crystal clear so you can walk the road to financial freedom and build a beautiful future for you and your family. I hope it's coming through crystal clear. All right. I paid $70 for it. All right. Love making these investments in the channel, no doubt about it. You got to do it. It's a tax write-off. So it helps, actually. Last year, we were able to make about as much money as we were able to write off. So God bless America. You betcha. All right. So all good. Awesome, Ryan. Can't wait to see the new look. Yeah, well, the new look on the live stream is a lot more casual, no doubt about it. I, again, am barefoot. Again, because I don't believe there's a whole lot of benefit for you in me coming on and posing as a financial planner, because I am not one, and I will never be one, ever. I think that's an industry that I would have trouble looking in the mirror. A lot of good folks, no doubt about it, but I'm not very good at selling people on stuff, and there's no way I could wake up every single morning and have to go to work, and they really don't, honestly. The stuff kind of sells themselves, because people, regular people, are probably the most subject to, I don't want to say victimization, I don't want to say that, but they are the most vulnerable group, okay? Because I think once you get up into the more astute in their financial aptitude, I think they really understand that investing through a financial planner better be good, because they're paying for that service. Whereas I think a lot of other folks, people who are too busy, come up with a lot of different excuses as to why they would opt for that option. Okay. All right. But the lighting makes a little difference, though. It does. I like it. It's good. They're really good. $175 for the pair of them. These LEDs are awesome. They're the same ones that Ryan Scribner uses on his, and I think he's got it dialed in. I just got to dial it in a little bit. You can control them with your smartphone. It's pretty wild. So I hope you guys appreciate it, because I want you to focus on the message. I really would rather you not focus on the blinds behind me, you know, or the butt of my bowl here, okay, right? The butt of my bowl. A lot of people take pictures of that when they're on Wall Street. Here, actually, let's turn this around and get this going correctly. There we go. Perfect. Here, we'll adjust it a little bit. See, there we go. Yeah, a lot of jokers when they're up there on Broadway, they take the pictures of the bull's rear. They think it's funny. It's hilarious. Like they're the only ones that have ever showed up on Broadway with that idea. And start taking it of the bull's house. It's really awesome. Yeah, but try to get around and take it with the horns. It's really funny. It's not like you can just walk up to the bull and take a picture. Trust me, you gotta like fight your way in there to get your like 2 seconds of fame. But anyway, glad I can make it for a few minutes. I'm glad to see you too, Sarah, as well. She must have had a commission, I think, must be a realtor. But she asked me, I sold a house this month and I'm sitting on a small pile for now. What to do, laugh out loud. I think that's a pretty cool, congrats on the commission for sure. I like that. But I'm not in aggressive mode on this market. There's no reason to be, okay? I could be wrong. I guess this could be the time to be aggressive. I'm not seeing it, okay? Take what the market has to give, all right? If you're seeing something different than I am, then take it. Now, I'm not saying don't invest. If you're looking to invest your first $1,000 into the market, you want to buy your first 10 shares, $2,500, $2,700 in the S&P 500, your first 5 shares, $1,500 block position, no problem. But when we're talking about folks that may have come into an inheritance of 50 grand, 100 grand, something like that, I'm not really certain if I would just be dumping that on the market, especially if you don't have any cash buffer. Build up the cash buffer, put 25,000 to work for yourself, start a Roth IRA if that's what you need to do, fund it with the maximum. You could do something like that, but build up that cash reserve and introduce the money to the market. Set yourself up a little bit for later on when the market is a little bit more conducive to aggressive buying. I just don't think it is right now. That's just my opinion. And it's in line with what I'm doing. I'm selling. The market is at an all-time high. Sell high, buy low. It's amazing how many people screw that up, okay? And regular investors don't have the luxury of screwing that up. So if you have any questions and you have less than $25,000 of capital and you've been building it up over this time, it really shouldn't enter into your mindset to even think about selling. Why? Right. You're looking to build wealth. Build it. Okay. Throttle back on your contributions if that's what you want. Now, there's a strong move that has nothing to do with finagling with your investments. She said that she's taken some profits in the taxable account, but the Roth IRA stays working for her. That's fantastic. That's you're thinking it, not that difficult. Just think through it. Okay. Don't succumb to irrational behavior in the stock market. Okay. I'm waiting for a pullback before purchasing anything else. Okay. So Christopher Blaine, man, if it were that easy. These pullbacks, they don't, it's not as if they pull back and then they give you a call and say, okay, Chris, I'm ready. Go ahead and float your money in here. This is absolutely the guaranteed bottom. What could end up happening is it goes down 22% and you think that's the bottom and it goes down another 22%. Would you have just been better off staying the course in the market? Most folks that are fundamentalists in the market would say yes. Better to just stay the course, stay invested, keep that time in the market so you're not stuck with that money on the side like I've got now. Now I'm on the clock, right? If we go 2 years and this market performs at a 10% clip over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, hell, I don't know. You know, what if Trump gets reelected? I don't know. Is that going to affect the market? Is it going to breathe some consistency back in the market on a new presidential term? I don't know. Okay, but here's the thing. I've got enough capital that's exposed to the market where I'm going to benefit. People think that they have to just have every penny that they have in the stock market. And if they don't, people are going to come and throw tomatoes at them because they're not getting everything that they can out of their money. I have a different perspective about it. I have a different perspective. And I justify it in a lot of different ways. I justify it by layering up in the portfolio. I've explained this many, many times. I take trading positions. I exited Alibaba. It was the easiest freaking money. Alibaba, I'll show you a screenshot of my Alibaba trades for the year in 2019. It's been the most easy money that I've ever made. Alibaba is easy money. Now I'm out of it now, and I'm not going to buy it because I don't like it. I liked it at 130. Okay. I've made pretty good money with Baidu as well, but not so attractive to swing trade. CRM Salesforce, another example. Easy money. Easy money. If it goes down, wait. Sell it when it's up. I have made a ton of money. Lots of other names like that. Microsoft has just been a beast. And Microsoft wasn't to sell either, but I took profits in Microsoft. I opted to keep Apple long. That's what I opted to do. But Disney has been underperforming. I'm holding Disney. I hold Johnson and Johnson. I've held Johnson and Johnson for years. Ever since I've had the account, as a matter of fact, I have held Johnson and Johnson. So some of those stocks that I enjoy owning that are creating wealth inside of themselves, like a JP Morgan, another great example of a bank that I'll never sell. The two major Canadian banks, I really enjoy owning those as well. So J&J, Pfizer, Visa. Jesus, Visa is probably my top pick this year. Visa has just been an absolute. It's been awesome. Awesome company to own. Juggernaut. Not a dividend payer either. Growth in the technology. It's a technology company. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's probably been my top pick for 2019. So been a lot of fun generating some profit, but put just a little over 60 grand on the side here in the last 2 days. So we'll see where that goes. About 30 in each account, 60,000 still invested, around 120, 130 exposed still to the market dividend payers. As I'm transitioning, I've got some starting positions in the ETFs that I declared to you guys last week. I believe those are real. And my criticism of my portfolio that I provided to the group as well was very real, very real. I would like to get a little bit more European exposure to start. I do have emerging markets already, and then I'd like to add probably some India there. India is very attractive to me. India is probably number 2 on the list for developing countries. I like some of the discussions that's going on right now. Do you guys realize the disruption that's going on right now globally? Vietnam is benefiting probably firsthand from companies that are looking for alternatives to China to build low-cost products. Vietnam's it. India is also in the discussion. So, and I want to increase my exposure to some international opportunities, because even though I have the majority of my investments here at home in the United States, which I'm very happy with that, I think it's somewhat naive to say that it's going to continue that way for the rest of my life. I would love to have a little bit more exposure to some international exposure. And every portfolio model that I have demonstrates that to me. It is that I'm very, very deficient in my overseas exposure. From a diversified perspective, it'll be ETF products, certainly how I seek those exposure, because I sure as hell don't have the level of knowledge that it would take to enter into single stocks in those companies. I just don't have the knowledge. I don't. So I'd rather seek out the exposure through a total market type of an ETF, something like that. And Vanguard has those products. And I'm sure Jason Mack investing, who's real happy with Fidelity from what I understand, and rightfully so. Fidelity is, if I were going to take the pulse of the channel and what people provide me back, I can turn back to you guys that Fidelity's right there at the top. No doubt. TD, E-Trade, Fidelity right there at the top, Premier Brokers. Vanguard's not even in the top 10. Phenomenal products, yes, but owned in a different broker. I'm very satisfied with Merrill. So just to give you guys some ideas of some of the major brokers represented, some of the folks are with Ally and they like it. Some of the folks enjoy the self-directed program through Chase. So very important there. All right. Let me cruise down here and see if I can't get. I've got Krishna in the group here for the first time, hailing from Ohio. Pretty awesome. I was trying to get him to declare to me some questions. 30 years old, starting investing. You're the very candidate, man, that needs to hear this information. And once you have it, take it, use it. Okay. I'll send you a bill. Just kidding. The information's free. I do this channel for, in one word, awareness, to provide awareness to folks like you who may have been working really hard on your career up to this point when you're 30 years old, and now you're interested in taking that posture because you've got the salary or the income to really supplement a nice investing schedule for yourself. And I commend you. I really do. Really nice to see you coming in here. And I always try to put a little emphasis on the new folks because I don't want to offend you, but it's important that I grab you. It's important. There's too much distraction out there. And my community will help validate that very fact that you may choose to do this, you may choose not to, but you need to hear what I have to say. You do. Very important. So don't pass on this opportunity. If Doug got you in here, he got you in here for a reason, and I'll take care of you. I'm very, very aggressive about providing awareness. Again, I'm not a financial planner. I don't ever care to be. I am a successful investor, which means a hell of a lot more to me than having a salesman tell me what's good for me. No way. Okay. All right. He recommended this channel. I think you two are good friends. Doug's been with me a long, long time, no doubt. He was one of the very first, if I'm not mistaken, kind of around that time, maybe, I don't know, a few thousand subscribers. He would remember, and I don't know what turned him on to the channel initially. I really don't know. But he's been with me for a long, long time when we started up in New York City. So those referrals mean a lot to me. I take it with a little bit of responsibility. Certainly, I owe it to him for providing the referral to provide you what you need. If there's a soft spot in your line of thinking or confusion about where to start, what to look at, maybe what to do a little dab of research on, maybe some books to read, that type of thing, we can get you on that. And it's cool because it's a self-paced thing, you know? So what if I light the spark? Okay, I'm going to put you on the Intelligent Investor. I'm going to put you on the Blueprint for America. Things like that like opened my eyes. You know, they were good stuff. And you can kind of self-educate yourself up and get yourself on the path to financial freedom later on in your life. Okay, I've got Bob Ray, good friend. He pops in. I think Bob's made every single live stream I've ever put on the channel. So, and of course, you guys know Jason is in the group here as well. I've got Cesar Nunez in the group here, hailing from Florida. Awesome to have you in here. Says he catches a lot of material, but maybe first time he's popped into the stream here. It's great to have you on, no doubt. You've been busy dodging storms down there, no doubt. It's been pretty wild season this time around for sure. So anyway, Krishna, where are you located? My daughter lived in Canton. Good stuff. You guys got some conversation. I've got Jared Odell in the group here. Had some good comms with Jared Odell. I appreciated one of his comments this week, actually, left on the videos. Jared's a good friend of the channel, no doubt. Gives an awesome perspective. He's got his own style of investing. It comes through in the Facebook group. It's really, really cool to see. And man, the guy helps a lot of investors, no doubt. Gives a nice perspective. It's a singular perspective, but collectively, those singular perspectives go a long way when we put them together and we squeeze those individual perspectives and we come out with some commonalities. Okay. And there's some commonalities in the stock market that if you put the majority of those commonalities together, you're going to be a little bit more on the side of the house that picks a profile that's set to win and not opt for one of those profiles that, man, I don't know if it's like naive or hypocritical, to come onto YouTube and pose that you're an investor. Investing takes time. It takes time. Okay. You can't just come on to YouTube and upload videos and get a few 100,000 subscribers and then automatically pose as a phenomenal investor. I don't think that exists. I don't think there are any legendary investors out there. I don't think there are any. Legendary? Why? Because you've ripped off a bunch of clients over the course of your life by running them through a program that's underperformed the market. Nah, I don't buy your breed. Sorry, don't buy it. All right. I got the one and only Doug Whitaker in the group. Says, good evening, Ryan. Great to see you, my friend. Great to have you in the group. Awesome. Wouldn't be the same without you. No doubt about it. Thanks for coming on and supporting the message. Really appreciate it. All goods in the group here. Awesome. I've got Ryan Walker in the group. Says, hello, everyone. Hopefully Ryan is able to add some questions there for me. I've got Smoking Too Hard in the group here. I have no idea what you do for fun, but I think it's that's pretty cool. Pretty cool screen name. I appreciate that. Pretty awesome. What are you working on with Jason? Just came in. We've got a collab scheduled for tomorrow. I think we've got it scheduled, I believe, for what, 6, 7 o'clock? I think it's 6 o'clock, I think. Yeah, we're going to throw down. It's all set up. The agenda's all set, ready to rock. Jason likes working off of a script, an agenda. I don't like the word agenda. So, now, when you got two people coming together, it's a good idea. Run off a little dab of a script, and it allowed me to kind of think ahead a little bit on some of the questions that I could potentially be asked. He can ask anything he wants of me. Honestly, ask anything he wants. I'm an open book. I don't care. Sometimes those cross dialogues are the best ones, to be honest. But we'll have some fun, no doubt. We've got some commonalities between us. They come out in the some of the comments that go back and forth between us, certainly. And might be an opportunity to get to know us a little bit better. I'd like to get to know him a little bit better, where he's coming from with his perspective, where he sees YouTube going. So just, I don't want to ruin it for you guys. So tune in, honestly, with any of the channel creators. If you're popping in there, anybody who comes in and supports my channel, I give them an endorsement to get that subscription. Click the hell over and subscribe to the channel. Okay. We need to build our community, not just me, but the entire community up. I'd like to see these channels in my community get up above that 10,000 subscriber mark. It'll be up to them to maintain that, but get them up to that 10,000, because there's too many people out there that need this. If there's 668,000 subscribers that can tune in and watch a 22-year-old kid lose $800 in a couple minutes, now he may be the most successful trader, okay? But getting into a fool's game like that is not something that I advocate for. Now, I wish him all the best. I wish him all the best. I hope he gets to that million. He claims to be a millionaire. It's awesome. I'm all about it. That's great. How does it affect your viewer? Okay. You've got over 500,000 people who are subscribing to you. How much success is being rendered in each one of those subscribers? Each subscriber is a person, whether or not they're active or no longer active on the channel. How is it affecting each and every one of those? I'll leave that rhetorical answer up to you guys. Okay. All right. So that's what we're doing. I got Canine in the group here who's hit me up with that. So Kings Fan 2000 Investing Happy Hour. What's up, fellas? I do concur. This is Investing Happy Hour. Drinking my club soda. Interesting you mentioned that. I don't know why I don't have one in front of me. I don't know. Anybody got one? I'll take it. Good stuff. So he says, what's up, fellas? I appreciate it. The one and only Doug's in here. Sorry, good. You guys are going back and forth. I've got Brent, the financial investor, again, who is probably the most devoted live stream member of the independent investor channel community. No doubt about it. I'd like to do a collab with Brent as well. So we'll roll that opportunity out. That'd be fun. Why not? Each of my featured channels I'd like to do that for. I have floated the olive branch to Gen X Investor, and I've done that in no small part due to the comments that Gen X Investor leaves on my videos. Sharp. That's all I can say about that. And I like collaborating with anybody out there. I meet a lot of people in my community who are 10 times smarter than I am, no doubt, that's what makes the world go round. That's fine. That's okay. I can outwork a lot of people. So that's where I come from. All right. But collectively, it's kind of cool to come together and bring lots of different opinions to the table. And it makes it a lot of fun. But Brent, thanks for popping on. Financial investor, always supporting the community here, no doubt. This week purchased 2 shares of the VWO, the emerging markets, right, and 2 shares of the Invesco SPHD. So I think you'll enjoy both of those products. I'm addressing Stephen T's comment here. I own both of those products, and I think they're fantastic. I really do. The SPHD it's an interesting product. It is. Having only 50 dividend payers in there, and selected based on a criteria that Invesco places over that particular ETF. It's a good one. It's kind of cool that it pays every single month. That's cool. You'll notice that. Make sure it's set up for dividend reinvestment. The VWO is another good product. I don't know how many shares I own. I've got a pretty big position in the emerging markets ETF from Vanguard. Pretty big position. I want to say 73 shares, something like that. It's a good fund. So you're starting to build these accounts up. They're really, really good. Just think about that, man. You've declared to me 2 ETFs, but look at the exposure. It's like a choke point, and the ticker symbol is at the bottom of the choke point. And when your funds flow through that choke point, it opens back up again and covers that entire emerging markets market. Now, the SPHD isn't quite like that in that the choke point gives you access to 50 names underneath of it, but all really good dividend paying names in the S&P 500. It's a cool product. I own the VYM in the bigger account. I know Jared Odell has got some exposure. I think he prefers the VIG, if I'm not mistaken. But that's another comparable product to the VYM, and I know he prefers that based on his independent research of the 2 products. I think we're splitting hairs between the 2, to be honest with you. They'll both perform over time, but diversification gets overlooked way too often. And it sounds like you've done the right thing. I don't know if you've bought those in a major brokerage account or if you've bought them in one of the discount brokers, Robinhood, First Trade, M1, Webull. Okay, those are some of the discount brokers that allow you to enter into those products with no charge. So Stephen, thank you and congratulations. I don't know if those are your first shares. I don't know how old you are. I don't know what your risk tolerance looks like. But that comment to me seems like you have introduced yourself to a much broader world. No doubt about it. Congratulations. That's awesome. Avi says added AbbVie and BMY this week. Long-term dividend cash flow machines. They are. Reasonable value. I would say that they're undervalued, both of them. I think you did quite good. Good entry points. I was commenting at the top or below this. I'm not really sure. The entry at NBMY gave you a little bit of opportunity at 46, 47. That's where I bought it. I sold it at 48. So I made a small, just short trade window buying it just because it was grossly undervalued. But AbbVie, I do still own. I've got a lot of healthcare exposure. That's why I trimmed back on Merck today. I've watched Merck go to the moon. So based on valuation with Merck was the reason, and to cut some of the healthcare sector. Now, I will say this, I'm a little underweight healthcare with all the holdings. I'm not really sure how that's possible. Jesus, I own a lot of healthcare, but I did trim some. I still own AbbVie in the portfolio. So that's what we've got. So Avi, I think those are good healthcare names. What I would say in that comment, just from my perspective, and give me a break here, okay? I don't know how old you are, and I don't know what picks those are supplementing within the portfolio, right? So just from if I was going to give you some value back, I would say I don't know what other stuff you're working with to complement and give you that exposure, but I would assume that you have some bases, 401k, whatever it be. If you've got some ETFs in there to complement that, certainly. But I think you did really well with those entries. You'd be fine. Those are great companies. Um, Great companies. I've got Andre right below McCorkle. I have 7 mutual funds with E-Trade. Expense ratio, take a look and make sure that you know, Andre, if you're still in the live stream. I know it's a while before me getting to your comment here, but when I see mutual funds, which amazing, of all the index funds that I own and all the exchange traded funds that I own, uh, both sector specific specialty ETFs, broad emerging markets, total market ETFs, dividend paying ETFs. I don't own one mutual fund, not one. I don't like them. I don't. Uh, I've invested in them before. I have went through up markets where the S&P 500 was up 10% and my mutual fund underperformed. And I won't do that again. When you run the cost basis of your mutual funds, you'll see what I mean, how that expense actually affects your investments, especially over time. But if you're satisfied with them and they're good funds and they're outperforming, I'm not saying you can't win with mutual funds, but I would at least be aware of the expense within those. Okay. It says, and a dividend stock portfolio with M1 Finance. Stock portfolio with M1 Finance. It's going to be interesting to watch that. I can't say um, that I enjoy M1 Finance in that manner. I think it's great. I think M1 Finance is really good. Obviously, you like the platform. I do the sectors in M1 Finance. I think what you're going to find is a little bit of a unique situation going on when those dividends pay. They pay to the portfolio and not the underlying stock that pays the dividend. That's interesting enough. I think you could be at an advantage, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm just telling you, as you very well know, it's unique in nature, very unique. Um, the M1 Finance platform, I don't know if there's another one like it that does that. I may be wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't know. But to my knowledge, it's the only one. So really good stuff. I'd like to know if you like E-Trade, because I've heard very good things about E-Trade and a dividends. I'm quite certain you're probably happy with M1 Finance. Otherwise, you would have told me. Hey, Krishna, glad you made it. Yeah, he popped in here right on time, Doug. So thank you for the referral. I really appreciate that. That's actually, I ask for it, I think, on every single video, and I do that for a reason. I'm not doing it to be annoying. I'm doing it because that's exactly what I value. I value somebody coming on and being like, wow, I don't know, this guy's a little different. I don't know. I sense like realism. Yeah, because it's real. It's real. That's why you sense it. So you don't mind pushing that referral out for somebody to come on and check out the content. I'm not going to appeal to everybody. I'm not. But be fair to me. I'm only one opinion. That's it. Just one. I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. So you got to keep that into perspective when you're certainly being critical of financial information. I expect everybody in my group, and this is a piece of advice, I'm critical, so I expect you to do the same. Be critical of the information you consume. Make sure that you discard the pieces that you don't need, and maybe research the pieces that sound kind of interesting. All right. So Ryan Walker, hey Doug, this is a Sage Walker from the Discord. Glad to see you. Good stuff, man. You guys know each other. That's cool. K97 says, JMac, cool. Will it be live? Yes, it will. It's the only way I roll, man. Come on. Live is fun. Live is fun. I'm not really sure why more people don't do it. Uh, when I started, people were like, "This is crazy. Like, what are you doing?" Now it really gets a lot of reviews afterwards, and rightfully so. God, there's so much good stuff that comes out of it. I'm not tooting my horn, but god dang, man, if you were going through the comment that I got this week said, I've been with this guy for 2 years and I've never commented, but I said, if you're looking for a YouTube channel where you actually want to invest, watch this guy. And it's the best comment that I could ever get. I'm humble. That's awesome. I don't really like talking about myself. I enjoy the acknowledgement as long as it's true. As long as people truly are coming on and finding that success that I insist is right in front of your face. It's right there. And if you need me to help you see it, so be it. I'll help you see it. That's fine. I've got enough motivation for 1,000 people as far as investing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it's very challenging as well. Very humbling. I've said that many times. Very humbling in the stock market. It's not all roses sometimes. You'll see what I mean. I'll remind you that I said that down the line within the next foreseeable future. Okay, whether it be 1 year or 5 years from now, I don't know. But I will remind you of what I've said. And I've said it over the last 3 years on the channel. And if you've watched my catalog of videos, there's been some real gems that I've thrown out there for sure that really strike at the nerve. And for the folks that heard that stuff, they're more powerful for it. I'm rest assured. I know that it'll affect people in a positive way. Absolutely. So pre-recorded will be posted on both our channels. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so it won't be live. We'll rock it out together, and then the raw content we'll throw on each other's channels. Do something like that. So thank you, Jason. All I want to do is say, of course, thank you for recommending this channel. Glad you made. Great. When it will be up? When will it be up? I'm not really sure. I've already filmed this weekend's videos. So I'll be addressing the stock market crash for 2020, just like every others. You'll be benefited to stay tuned to my perspective on that. It's a good one. And then I've got another one coming, Investing Made Simple. It's the 5 benefits of passive investing. Will be coming out this weekend for you guys in the live stream who are still with me. That's kind of a foreshadowing of what's to come for this weekend. So I don't know. Jason can throw it up anytime he wants to. Once it's complete, he'll fire it over to me, and I may throw up early next week, something like that. Maybe I'll throw it up and do a double on a day. I don't know. That tends to be a little more cumbersome in my experience. I don't like doing that. So I may throw it up maybe early next week, something like that. In all fairness, you bet we'll push it out there. I want to make sure and get Jason's information in the description and all that jazz. So I'll make sure it's good before we roll it out. That's what we'll do. It's the least we can do. All right. He says we'll try to time them together. Okay. Sounds good. Piece of cake. Done. Sold. Done. All right. Grab some VTI this week. Still haven't got VOO yet, but I want it. I would consider you just stick with the VTI. Those two products can be owned in separate accounts. I own them both, but I own them in separate accounts for different reasons. Very similar products. So, consider looking at VTI, but maybe consider looking at maybe an international fund to supplement the VTI, something on a small cap level. You could do something like that. Now the VTI is the total market, so you could get a little bit, you could get a little bit creative with that if you want to. But I don't know if I would put VOO in the same portfolio as VTI. I wouldn't, to be frank, and I don't. So I can disclose to you how I invest, and you can read between the lines on how I do, and kind of do your own research. But if you're looking to add another ETF in there, there may be some other strategic ones that you can add to avoid the overlap, because those two are pretty similar. All right. So, hey, Ryan, not on the road, taking a few days off. Glad to be here tonight. I think I called out Kelvin at the top of the show. I think you're the one that talks to me about, I don't know if you're driving or if you're pharmaceutical sales. I can't remember what it is that you do. I try to keep tabs on that stuff. I really do. It's kind of fun. But glad to have you in here nonetheless. Good stuff. Been going for about an hour and 10 minutes, man. It seems like I've been talking for 5 minutes, honestly. Just amazing. JMac, well, we'll look for the collab. Absolutely. Yep. I'm sure we'll give it our best shot, and hopefully there's some value to come out of it. I'm sure that there will be. It'll be fun. Collaborations are fun. Again, Jason's the second collaboration I've ever done. So, and I typically don't solicit for them. I don't. So, that's just my way. He's done, geez, I think a lot, a lot. I think he's done 6 or so. It's pretty cool. So, good stuff. I got Avier pivoting towards dividend paying, blue trips, and trimming away positions with so much volatility. Too many indicators flashing, always staying invested, but building up cash reserves. Um, don't underscore the importance of diversification. You know, I sit here and I talk about the trading being a fool's game. There's some real school of thought on stock picking being a fool's game as well. And I'm not really quite certain why I'm immune to a lot more criticism on my channel with regard to the amount of single stock exposure that I have in my portfolio. Most everybody that tunes into me knows why I do that. It's because I've got other passive investments working. And I just consider that to be the nice layer, the next layer up. And I keep it within reason. I do. And I justify doing that dividend section of the portfolio for that very reason. I don't know if I would feel quite as good if I didn't have a lot of income in the passive aspect of the portfolio as well. That this is my own personal opinion based on a lot of experience. And I tell you what, man, those ETFs, they perform so well. They do. Man, and when you've taken some stocks into some, I just took AT&T into a multi deep water downturn. I bought it at 38. It went all the way down to low 30s, and it sat there forever. Okay. And how could I have foreseen Kraft Heinz food? How could I have foreseen General Electric? There was a lot of investors that got caught with their pants down. A lot of smart investors, and that has nothing to do with being smart. That has a little bit to do with being unlucky. But very few stocks year in and year out outperform the market. So you're weighing the potential of owning an ETF and guaranteeing that match, okay? Or you're rolling the dice on picking those stocks, those few stocks that outperform the market. It's tough, okay? Now you roll into the next year. What are the chances that those stocks that outperformed the year before are going to outperform again and outperform again and outperform again? Could be considered a fool's game. Just be kind of careful. If it's in relation to other stuff, like the way that I do it, see that it's a little bit more acceptable, I think, but please understand the risks of doing such. Okay. Um, Passive investing has always been the greatest um, path to wealth. And what a lot of people miss is they're taking on just enough risk to get the maximum amount of return for relative to the amount of risk that they're taking. Very, very important. How much risk are you taking on by owning those single stocks? I'm sure you do your research, and I'm sure you're entering into those stocks for good reason. But good decisions don't always render good outcomes. Okay. That's why the stock market is such a humbling place. You can have the best intention and your plan won't work out. When again, you've got the looming tracking the market right there whispering in this ear. Okay. This is the angel. This is the devil. Buy single stock. And the ETF's like, nope, this is the proven winner over here, right? You've always got that. And you're always opting for this, like, hey, I can get 20% every year. It's tough to do. Very few people can do it. Very few people can do it year in and year out. Okay. Um, However, owning single stock does give you that opportunity to outperform. I think you need to be willing to look at it from a 3 to 5 year minimum perspective, and maybe even a lot longer than that. to really get the maximum benefit out of single stock allocation. Otherwise, you're just looking to trade, get some appreciation, and pull the profit off the table, which I'm guilty of that too. I just told you I channeled the hell out of Alibaba this year, and I've made a ton of money doing it, ton. But so to each his own. Okay, I've got stuff that's slowly paying me little bits of dividend here and there, paying me that dividend growth, rolling back, compounding into the stock, right? Dividend reinvesting into the stock. That's great and plenty. But I initiate other strategies as I declared this week, and pretty successful in doing a logged 2,500, maybe a profit the last couple days. So boost up that 16 rendered, 14 rendered, 15 rendered this year so far. So boosted that up. It's been a hell of a year this year. It's been really good. I've done well. I've done well. I work hard at it, but I've done well. No doubt about it. I've got Ernest in the group here. Ernest pops in and says hello. He's a man of many words, who always pops in and offers his in-depth comment in the community by saying hello. But I owe Ernest a big thank you. I appreciate you reviewing that content. Your response to me was just spot on, crazy good. Guys are really, really missing out on the Facebook here in Ernest and his discussion. I don't ask him for too much, but when I do ask, he really always comes through for me, and I really appreciate that support. That Facebook group would not be the same without Ernest, no doubt about it. Ernest is he's been in that Facebook since the beginning of it, no doubt. But man, some of those responses are just very, very good. They're very good, and you're the wiser if you have the opportunity to review some of those responses from Ernest, because he knows a lot of this. I don't know if it's by nature of independent research or if it was the business that he was part of. I don't want to get too much into detail, but you'd be hard pressed not to kick over and join the Facebook group, Self-Directed Investing. Links are in the bottom of every single one of my videos, man. If you're not part of it, you're freaking missing out, no doubt. A lot of value in there. I think I'd like to trim down on some of the uploads from some of the folks. It kind of irritates me a little bit. Me and Jason have a little different philosophy on this. I wanted that Facebook group to be Q&A, and I wanted it to be resources, and I wanted it to be articles. I wanted it to be dividend aristocrat lists, real tools that real people could go in there and extract, not folks that go in there and just upload their videos for publicity. That this is not my intent of the group. If you want to do that, do it over Facebook or YouTube. But the Facebook group, I wanted it a little bit. I'm aggressively monitoring it right now. I've kicked a few folks off of it for just blatantly soliciting programs, and so the upload stuff is acceptable right now. But I may be pulling some of that stuff off because good work like Ernest's gets a little bit muddled when that stuff is constantly being thrown on there. And I'm not really sure if the intent of the post, the administrators of those posts are really that well intentioned when they're posting it on there. Okay. So that's the way I feel about that. Stock investor guy who says hello, another man of many words. So I assume he's a guy. I'm sorry. I should be gender neutral on social media. It's burned me a few times. Thanks for the portfolio update. Rolly DeBear buy McDonald's on this dip, just raised their dividend. I love McDonald's. I do have just a small position in McDonald's right now, 10 shares of the stock. Glad to own it finally. It's been good for me. Got Hector Mendoza, VTI, VOO, or VXUS. They're all good funds. Really just depends on if you, I think VXUS is the index version of one of those other ones. I'd have to check the ETF to double check that, Hector. But kind of splitting hairs a little bit. I would say one of those three would work. Okay, don't need them all. Pick a nice one. I really enjoy VTI. I really do. I think for the maximum diversified exposure in an ETF with that low of an expense, yeah, that's easily justifiable. You bet. All right. Gen X investor, evening all. Glad to see you. Another channel creator, my understanding, making waves on YouTube. Fantastic to have you here. Always give a shout out. Unfortunately, the shout out's coming at 1:20, but you're probably getting a lot of devoted subscribers to the message. So honestly, kick over and help Gen X dividend investor get up to that 10,000 subscriber mark. That would be awesome. If you haven't done so already. Michael Raver, awesome. I've got Riley Griffith, also a channel creator here in the group. How's it going, everybody? It's great to have you in here. Awesome. J-Mac, what's up? You guys are talking amongst yourself. Glad it's Fidelity as well. Friday, not Fidelity. Man alive. Can't say get the, you can, wow, this new iMac picks up that little fly that's flying around. That's amazing. All right, I got sweet Rico Suave Investing, who probably is another channel creator as well. I hope that to be the case. If you are, shout out to you. Thank you so much for making your way in here. That's awesome. Really appreciate the support. Noella pops in and says, "Hi, Ryan." She says the same thing every single week. It's awesome. And then she goes on with her business. I know she's an enterprising lady from Canada. Awesome. Been with me for a long time. Great supporter. Very loyal subscriber to the channel. Awesome to see you. Dan Tanks, can I ask the community what they think would be the best home for my 15-year-old daughter's Roth? Do some finagling to make that happen. It's an accounting thing to make that happen. First real job starting tomorrow. Was thinking Charles Schwab. Whew, that's a good question. I don't think you could go wrong. Charles Schwab's in the top 5. I would compare it to Fidelity to save you some time. TD Ameritrade, E-Trade, and Merrill's very good too. I don't know if they're as good as Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab's got that index fund, the S&P 500 SPWWX. Is that right, guys? SWPPX? Is that correct? I know there will be somebody that corrects me. SWPPX. I believe that's it. That's the index fund for that Schwab ETF. It's really good, or index fund for the S&P 500. It's a good one. All right. Kings Fan 2000. I would go with Vanguard. So you can go with Vanguard products, but this gets asked to me all the time. I think Vanguard's account sucks. Okay. You can check them out for yourself. They're very reputable. Whoop-de freaking do. Reputation only goes so far with me. Bank of America has an excellent reputation as well. Fidelity has probably one of the best. JP Morgan Chase, their self-directed program, et cetera, et cetera. I don't put Vanguard in the top 10. I just don't think they're that good of an account. Now their products I invest in exclusively. I do. They're fantastic. Very good. They'll get it done. Now there's going to be some other ETFs that are out there on the race to the bottom that may give 1 basis point lower or 2 basis points lower I'm not going to switch funds to save on 1 or 2 basis points. I'm not going to do that. Okay. We're splitting hairs at that point. Okay. Doesn't mean a whole lot of difference to me where one is 0.02 and one is free. Okay. We're working in that zone of being almost expense free. I can accept that. What I can't accept is expense ratios in mutual funds at 1.5 per year. That's where we start to get into some problems. Okay. That's unacceptable to me. All right. Sounds clear. Fidelity, M1 Finance. That's an interesting way of going about it. Sarah, Fidelity, M1 Finance. I like that. M1 Finance is a good option because you're going to get to invest for free. They have the Roth. Why wouldn't you just go with M1 Finance? It's really not a bad idea. It's going to promote that passive investing as well. And if you want to load that with Vanguard funds, you can. Okay, so you can own the account through M1 Finance and then take one of their recommended pies, or you can build the portfolio yourself, buy or just the VTI, You could do something like that, the total market index from Vanguard or the S&P 500. You could do that. You could do VOO, something like that, or an ETF of your choice, of course, right? The product is the easy part. You're going through the second most difficult part is choosing the account for your daughter. So I would consider M1 Finance. I don't have a problem with that. If you do get it up and you want to opt for one of the major brokerage houses, you could do that. But if you're starting it for her from scratch, it's kind of a pain in the side to have to pay those entry and exit fees for your dollar cost averaging. Whereas M1 Finance, it's free of charge. You could fund it from your cell phone if that's what you want. It's cool. It's really cool. It's amazing. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. It's really cool. Just a sec. This is just worth showing you because it's pretty legit. To help you get just an idea of what I'm talking about. Yeah, cool. So the transfer button at the very bottom, right there, boop, click of a button, done. You can fund your daughter's account. Kind of cool. You can set it up on auto. You could do 25 bucks a month, 50 bucks a month, whatever it is that you wanted to do. So thanks, King's fan. I like M1 for our taxable. Want something with more history for the Roth. Very good. So you want something a little bit more major brokerage, a little more reputation there. I understand that. That's respectable. I totally get that, and I understand. Sound and video quality are great. Being a subscriber feels like 2 years. It's been wonderful to watch the channel grow. Yeah, Avi A has been with me for a long time. It's really cool. Some of these folks who have been with me for a long time. It's cool. At building a community, that's what it's all about. And quite frankly, that's where I put a lot of the value. Again, it's nice to see the channel grow, but folks that have been with me from the beginning have watched me evolve in my maybe I haven't evolved. I don't know. I would give myself a little more credit. If you don't think I've evolved, watch video 1. Okay. I'm serious. It's like that. I've got a little more comfortable. It's good. If you think it's easy to film yourself, give it a try. All right. So Sarah says, I'm a single mom now. It takes a budgeting and a mindset to stay invested. But that's the interesting part about that is when you're in that situation, it forces you to take a look at what I'm trying to get people to look at electively. You're doing it by necessity. A lot of people need to do it electively. The unfortunate part about it is a lot of people will never get to a place that you're in now, Sarah. That's the thing. It's crazy. Me and my wife, we talk about this all the time. We're like, we don't understand how certain people can afford certain things. Now, we're not judging. It's just like, wow, how do you do that? And I've asked a few people, and they're like, we struggle. We struggle. I make X amount of dollars, and I'm financed up to my eyeballs, and I'm financed with the brand new cars that I've bought. We don't save anything, and we get by on credit cards. People struggle, you know. Um, I think that's pretty cool that you just shared that comment. That's pretty awesome. I think your focus will pay off. I do. Do what it is that you can do. Don't pay attention to anybody else. Okay? Come on, extract whatever motivation you need from the channel. That's all good and plenty. You know I'm open to answering whatever questions that you have. It sounds like you're doing really good, and your best is good enough. You don't need to compare it to anybody else. I may end up being in a place of success, whatever that means someday, but I'm more realistic about my approach, and I accept the fact that I'm going to be where I'm going to be, and that's good enough. All right, I'm going to be where I'm going to be. I'm going to continue to work the program the way I want to work my program, and that's going to get me. I won't have any regrets. You know, I'm not going to look back over my life and say, "Wow, I had that self-directed opportunity. I wonder what I could have rendered out of it." No way. There will be no such reflection because I've done it. It's been life-changing, and looking to share some of that life-changing opportunity with you guys as well. And I believe we're doing it. Sarah Logston, you will get there if you are determined. So, Jerry, thank you for offering that. That's very nice. I was hoping to echo something of the sort like that as well, because my hats go off to those folks, and she's not the only one. There's a lot of people out there that are grinding. They're really grinding and doing their thing. And man, there's a lot to be proud of there too. There really is. I'm always looking at the there's just a lot to be respected about that, because I tell you what, there's a lot of people out there that probably could work a little harder, you know? And I just think you appreciate more. I really do. I've got Eric Weber here added VPU, right, which is utilities, a specialty ETF to the M1 ETF pie. And one of my portfolios liking some more of those Vanguard ETFs. It's good. I just showed you this, just a quick, and you just catch the video. I'm pretty sure you caught that video, Eric, too, of how I invest in M1 Finance. I kind of like it because it diversifies me big time across all the sectors. I should add up all the holdings that are represented in that small portfolio, $1,800, something like that in that M1. But man, it makes investing fun. I'm up in every one of my funds. Every one. Remember when I talked about stock picking, and chances are you're going to pick a loser? Every single one of my ETFs right now are up. All 11. Now that's now, but it's fun for me to monitor because I can turn back that perspective and opinion from the monitoring of those ETFs back to you. And I'm sold. I'm sold. I love the opportunity. I have a family member who's going all diversified now. No more single stock. They may keep some small token positions in those stocks, but I think diversified portfolio is the way to go. I really do. To the exposure limit that you're happy with, and then look to diversify and hold some cash. Honestly, okay, I get it. I understand the downfall of doing that, but I do think there's some real value, because when you own those ETFs and you're able to monitor the market in that way, those ETFs prove as that barometer of the market. So if it's down 3 or 4 or 500 points, that's the time where I would look at it. It's down. Invest a little more. Very simple. You don't get caught up in this game of catching a falling knife, something like that, which was easy to do with General Electric, right? Buying the market is easy. Now you can set it up the lazy way and just do dollar cost averaging, but you can absolutely strategically buy the market for the rest of your life if you're investing in ETFs. If it goes down 1,000 points in a day, now that's the time you want to be putting a little bulk of chunk in there. If you've got a couple $1,000 on the side and you think, you know what, I'm going to pick the next down day and I'm going to go ahead and push into the market, you can do that. Monitor the market. If it's down 1,000, good. If it's down 500, okay. It cooperated with you and you're buying on a down day. I think over the course of one's life, by doing that, which is what I've done, I don't have any statistics to prove how much of an advantage that's given me over time, but I can guarantee it's given me an advantage. That there's got to be some reason why I'm sitting on the portfolio that I am. And that's probably one small of many reasons as to why I'm there. All right. Good stuff. We working moms always find a way. Jerry, that's awesome. It's really cool, man. Appreciate that support. That's really cool. Ryan, even more important is it doesn't take long. When you start, you suddenly find more money to save. Wow. Okay, so that's probably the comment of the night, because Hulan Bryant, comment of the night. Here's why. I talk about that importance of the 25, and it gets people excited about saying, you know what, okay, kick myself in the rear a little bit. I can do that. I can do 25. Ryan says I can do it. I can do it. And you find it, you do, because you have it. You do. But there's a psychological trick, and I'll just disclose that to you now, because there's nothing but loyal subscribers in the group now anyway. So I can declare the secret to you. The secret is it's not about the 25 bucks. And I've said this before. What it's about is getting you mentally conditioned to paying yourself first. And what Helen is alluding to there is buying into that program. And over time, you'll end up kind of gravitating toward that tendency of paying yourself first. And you're going to say, you know what? 25 bucks is going to get me here, but where can 50 bucks get me? And and you'll have those tools to be able to provide yourself those answers empowered. It's a beautiful thing. You can start to kind of say, man alive, I got a little raise at work. Instead of going out and buying that new car, I'm going to contribute a little bit more to my retirement. I don't want to do $50. I want to do $125. And you can run those numbers. And you can be like, wow, if I put myself on this program, I could potentially be aiming for this much compounded wealth in the future. It's powerful. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Thank you. Because I was thinking it and I didn't say it. So thank you so much. Hector Mendoza, Fidelity, Vanguard, or First Trade are good options to check out. Yeah, so I always tend to listen. Um, and the comment that I reviewed was that they're looking for something with a little bit more reputation. And certainly First Trade does not compare with regard to reputation when you're talking about Fidelity or Vanguard, to be honest with you. I'm just, Vanguard is going to charge you entry and exit fees, that of which you can save with Fidelity. I think I'm not sure what their incentive threshold level is. Jason Mack might know. J Mac might know um, what those incentive thresholds are. What I mean is, what tier do you have to be at? 25,000, for example, to get some reduced 30 trades a month, etc. Merrill is 25 for 30 and 50,000, I believe. 100. They might have increased it actually. They might have increased it 50,000 for 100 free trades, something like that. It may be 100 grand, something like that. But know what your incentive thresholds are, because when you reach them, you'll get some free trades there, which can help in your dollar cost averaging to where you're not paying that entry fee. All right. Good stuff. I just subscribed to the channel a few hours ago. J Mac recommended you. I love it. I love it. The world's going round, man, all helping each other. That's the beauty of it. It really is. Got a few more minutes on the stream here. It's looking like we're going to end up pretty good at the end. And I got to every single person in the stream. That's awesome. Unless Google just decides to dump a bunch of comments on me like it does. It's crazy. Fidelity's $4.95 to trade. What is Vanguard? Vanguard's more expensive than that. But I don't like them. Okay. You guys can do whatever you want. Okay. I'm just your friend on YouTube. That's it. But I called them with the intention of potentially transferring my entire portfolio to them. And I hung up the phone and I said, I'm so glad I did that. I'm so much more knowledgeable now, and I will not be doing with business with Vanguard. It seems like they were not a good fit for me. They were not a good fit for me. All right. Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. And you and J Mac did good stuff. Get the support there. I love it. Got In Munch in the group here. They're probably, I hope they're still watching. That's really cool. Very cool. Got the happy couple in the group. The happy icon that pops up. Helped a friend set up his first Roth this week. He's 19 and starting with $50 a month contribution. So excited for him taking that first step. Thankful for you, Ryan. Wow. All right. Well, that's an awesome, awesome comment right there. The sky's the limit there. Most of the mathematical figures, if the market continues to perform as it has historically, it's a very bright future when you start that young, especially if you're deploying some of these techniques. No doubt about it. All right. Let me cruise up here and see if I can't catch some of these comments of some of you guys that okay, I think I'm back to where I left off here. I do apologize. I get to the end of this and it just dumps a bunch of comments in the group. I don't know why it does that. It's really frustrating. And you'd think for an $800 billion company they'd get it right, but we're helping them. We're helping them build YouTube. So 10, 14 years. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of comments here. I would have to go on for another 2 hours, I think, to get to the rest of these. Is Mondelez still a buy? I believe that it is. Mondelez is. I would trade my shares of Kraft Heinz food for Mondelez. I should have just kept Mondelez, but I took a nice profit in it, so I'm not going to beat myself up over it. Also hit that like button. Good stuff. You guys are sharing each other's subscriptions. I like that. This is just the forum to do it. Very informal. Hey, subscribe for a subscriber. You're not supposed to do that on YouTube, but I could really care less about being loyal to YouTube. As long as they continue to provide me a platform to get my message out to my subscribers, I'm good to go. I owe YouTube nothing. Nothing. Am I missing some chat somewhere? Yeah, you're missing it right here, Rand. Appreciate you coming in. Anyway, we're almost done. I'm about to lose my voice after an hour and 40 minutes of talking about finances. Do you dabble in options at all? I don't. No options for me. I do not. I do apologize for that lack of clarity. I'm sure there's good ones on there. When will we see a 20% decline in the market? Thoughts on the world economy? I think it's sooner than later. That's my thought. I think 20% is pretty conservative. I do. I think we've run up very, very quickly, and I would love to know your assessment as well, as I respect your. Um, you've been around like me, okay, and I mean that with all due respect, because it's kind of why I value my own opinion a little bit, because although I think it is a convenient punchline for a lot of younger investors to be throwing out a 2020 recession on YouTube, I'm the first to tell you I don't know. Okay, that's the responsible thing to say. However, I get a sense that we are kind of on the verge, and I think we've been in it for a while. I I've seen these things come and go, and usually when you reflect back on the time leading up to a recession, there was plenty of things there to focus in on, that of which has come to pass. We've really we hit our top late fall last year, I believe, and we haven't returned back to it. So some interesting stuff there. Yeah, I think 20% is a little conservative. I think entering into a bear market at 20% would be a gift. I do. And depending on what happens with the election in next year, that's really going to be an interesting stimulus or a detractor from the market. You guys can take it for what you will with your own political affiliation. I won't go any further than that. Okay. All right. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate learning from the independent. No worries, man. We got to get together and do a collab. That's all I'm going to say. That's your olive branch Gen X investor. We'll get together and swap some knowledge. It'd be fun. Do you still recommend Provident Metals? I do. I do. They're still my number one recommendation. I I shop on there all the time. I'm a little disappointed they have not had copper for quite some time. I'm a little Oh, geez, Louise. Oh my goodness. I just got a Charlie horse in my leg. Oh my goodness. Oh God. That's what you get for running 3 miles. Oh my goodness. Oh, that just woke me up. Holy smokes. Anyway, yes, I was talking about copper, and they don't have any. They're all sold out. You can get some specialty coins on there, but I'm actually interested in buying gold, silver, and copper right now. I'd really like to enter into it. I'm just a weenie. I can't pull the trigger for some reason. Uh, but Provident Metals is the place to do that. Check them out. They're really good. Save it to your favorites and shop around there. It's fun to at least look. It's really fun to look. All right. Noble is an ETF of dividend aristocrats. I personally own a nice amount. Good job. The Money Man. I like that. That's a great. I'd like to look at that for sure. Always nice to see folks coming in sharing these different products in the group. That's what it's all about: awareness. What's out there? What ticker symbols are out there? I tend to insist that there's probably a lot too much attention on the products sometimes, because that's what everybody wants to talk about, and a lot less attention to the learning aspect and the fundamentals of investing. I don't care what product you own. If you're not mentally prepared to own that product, you'll fail. So it begs the question of not putting the horse before the carriage for any investor. Uh, when you're 19 years old, like N Munch was talking about there, when you're 19 years old, you're the most vulnerable at that stage for sure. And I know the compounding calculator says you will succeed if you do this, but it's very, very hard to do that. Very hard to stay in a program for 40 or 50 years of your life like you're supposed to. It's difficult to do. All right. Good stuff. SCHV, large cap value. That's not the one I was talking about, but it is a good one for sure. The Schwab funds are really quite good. I think M1 is at an advantage with spreading the dividends among the portfolio. Great stuff. I sense that is an interesting way of doing it too, Eric. And here's why. I think constantly rotating into the under weight portion of the portfolio is an interesting strategic advantage. If the stock has run up 20% and it's paying a dividend and it's rolling back into that particular underlying asset, it may not be quite as impactful as if it's rolling into a lower aspect of the portfolio. So pretty exciting stuff. Be interesting to see that. And that's one reason why I'm kind of interested in this small portfolio I have with M1 Finance, and that's one reason why I'm kind of using it as an $1,800 barometer in the stock market. You bet, because when that Spider ETF goes down, I will be strategically buying more. It's a very, very good monitor. I've got all the sectors on lockdown within that ETF, and it gives me an insight to all 11 of them. When I shot the video, I showed you guys where energy was down. Okay. It gives you some insight on what sectors are performing and which ones are underperforming. Really good stuff. All right. All right. I like M1 and Robinhood for different reasons. Oh, certainly. Robinhood has its spots for sure. I'm just down on it because I think a lot of people misused the platform. I think for a taxable brokerage account, it's fine. What's the difference, really? And a lot of people like the aesthetics of Robinhood, and it can get it done. A taxable account, who cares, really? You can own it with Robinhood if you prefer them. That's fine. M1 Finance, same thing. Both of mine, M1 and First Trade, are both taxable accounts. I already have my Roths with somebody else, but yeah, you're absolutely right. I think Nate O'Brien, who's another YouTube channel creator, who I've known since the beginning of my channel, uses Robinhood as well, and he uses it in this manner. He uses it as a taxable account that he holds long positions in. Good stuff. All right. I like the top 10 stocks in DGRO. Own 6 of them already. Good stuff. I like that. I wish you could have more than 100 holdings in an M1 account. No doubt. That's interesting. There is 100 max. That's right. Good observation. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. That's pretty important. Okay, so my bad. It's live. Laugh out loud. Let's go. Nice. Finally. Jason's come around. He's seeing it my way. See, I can be very, very persuasive. No, I don't care. We'll throw some content down and share it with the group, no doubt. JMac dividend growth. Love the videos. Was just watching your new video earlier. Way to start your daughter off young. I saw that too. That's pretty awesome. Good stuff. I'm new to the channel and finance in general. Thanks for the live stream. Is it possible that the rise of robo investors are creating their own bubble? You bet. I wonder about their long-term viability. Very, very sharp comment. I'm of the camp that I don't believe that they're tried, true, and tested. There's indications that when the algorithms in how they're built and how the triggers are built into the algorithms, when you see the market accelerate and then exacerbate to the downside, I think that is an absolute product of those of quant traders. Okay, the robo advisors, things like that, or robo investors, things like that. But no, I think it's only as strong as the algorithm that's built, and I still, it's still a human being that's building the algorithm to respond to certain injects. I think there's some real exciting stuff in that industry. I really do, because here's the thing: machines can analyze so much more data than a human being. Okay, we're dumb when it comes to that type of stuff. However, the sixth sense that I talk about with regard to perhaps maybe a portfolio sells when it shouldn't sell, or it gets caught up in an order in an exacerbated state that sells your holdings at a very, very discounted level, when a disciplined investor just needs to look at that and not do anything, you know? So I think the whole game of timing the market, which is what they're built to do, they're built to get you that strategic advantage. And I'm very intrigued by the industry. I really am, but I think they've got a lot of work to do, and I'm not on board with it just yet. I will continue to monitor. I think it's interesting. But we'll continue to monitor it. I'll continue to manage it myself. I really will, because I think they need to be a lot more put to the test and see how they react and see how they affect the market. Okay. Watch the Big Short and Margin Call movies on YouTube this week. Very good, very different they are. And it's a good one. I love you making video with your wife. You guys should do more together. Yeah, I got a little bit of interesting comment, perhaps maybe warning against. A lot of positive feedback. I do appreciate yours. And she's got a lot to offer, no doubt about it. Some deeper questions that could really touch a lot of people, no doubt. I have my story. You guys know it. And it's still up in the air a little bit whether or not I will pursue that option. Certainly, I do want to make sure that some level of privacy is maintained on the channel as well. We're not a very big channel, so we can come on and talk as if we're friends, etc. But yeah, it's still up in the air a bit for me, and I really appreciate the folks giving their support. But yeah, I had a little bit of comeback on that to the contrary, and that's all I'll say about that. All right. I'm at the stage of my life where dividends are my primary goal. Money working for me. I do take profit when it is good and balance out when I need to. Agree. I love it, man. Absolutely. If it makes money and you're the one that controls the cards, that's the cool part about it. You don't have to let the cards turn over a blackjack on you, and you have no control over that. You can sell the stock when you want. You can hold the stock when you want. That's the beautiful thing about investing. It really is. And if you looked at my track record of stock wins this year, it's impressive. I just looked at it for the first time before I made that video. The one that's doing quite well on YouTube right now, the portfolio review, the dividends and the short-term trading gain, etc. All that's pretty cool. Being able to generate, I'm $17,000 now this year. So lots of successful trades, lots of few percent gain here and there, boom, trading, leveraging the free trade, entry and exit, etc. Leveraging my ability to actively trade that account to generate wealth in the portfolio. All right. Hey, Ryan, what's your view of the oil and gas? Trimmed some positions, Jesus. Trimmed a little bit. I was a little too overexposed in oil and gas. Very out of favor right now. Doesn't look very good on the horizon. Very disappointed. I think LNG is exciting. I think fracking is exciting. I think it's done a lot for productivity, etc. I think the Permian Basin is one of the most viable assets on the earth. All the majors are there. I own a lot. I mean, Marathon Oil, I own both. Marathon Petroleum, Kinder Morgan, Halliburton, Royal Dutch Shell. I liquidated Chevron today. I sold all of it, all Chevron. Really interesting. I owned it for years, and it was an attempt to reduce my oil exposure. I still own ExxonMobil. I still own Royal Dutch Shell, and I was finally able to sell half of the position for a profit in Marathon Petroleum, which has just been an absolute dog. I did a deep dive on that, had it licked, bought it, and it went down 20%. It happens. Very, very disappointing on that one. But those are my thoughts on oil and gas. I don't know. I would keep the exposure under control. Okay. a few percentage points in the portfolio. If you want to max it at 6, go ahead. I think I'm probably at about 6 now, 6 or 7% in my portfolio. You don't need to be owning any more than that in oil and gas. I know the dividends are attractive. The Royal Dutch Shell, Total Energy, some very, very good companies out there to be owned. I know ExxonMobil. But man, I'm in a deep water multi-year recovery on ExxonMobil if it ever does. It's like owning a bond. Seriously. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with oil. Thank you for the question. That was awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for all the wonderful information. I've got Nate. That's awesome. I appreciate that, Nate. Good looking out, man. Take the information, make yourself wealthy on it, man. Do it slowly. Okay. It's not a get rich scheme, but it is free of charge, but it's very powerful. All right. Appreciate you popping in. After I got out of the Marine Corps, I transferred all my funds from the TSP to Schwab. I love Chuck Schwab and my Roth. You bet. That opinion has been communicated to me over and over and over again. So very important. New investor here, started way too late. I'd like to know what you mean by way too late, because there's folks that go through their whole life and they don't invest at all, or they invest their whole life incorrectly. I would rather have you invest late and do it correctly. Okay. So don't beat yourself up too much. It's you can be happy going through life without investing. Investing just helps contribute a little bit to the financial security down the line a little bit. Let's be real. Let's be realistic about why we invest. Okay. It's not going to save your life. Not going to make you happier. That might not be entirely true, but yeah. And no, investing has way more benefits than it does downfalls, for sure. And you can mitigate some of the downfall of investing by investing correctly. Some of those defensive postures on the stock market. Okay. Would DGR be good to put in a taxable brokerage account? Yeah, if you're willing to save it long term, for sure. Schwab is good. They have good ETFs and a great platform with banking linked. Perfect. I appreciate that, Bob. That's awesome. Nate, it's better to start late than never, no doubt. I would say that it's better to start late and correct than never at all. So money matters. I like it. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you have Fidelity or Merrill, etc., and you buy Vanguard funds like VO, VTIB, aren't you paying commission fees? I do pay the expense, but I don't pay the entry and exit fee. For example, I don't pay anything to buy the ETF, but I'm still subject to the expense of the account. For example, VOO 0.02%. I do pay that. Okay. All right. What do you think about all the index fund, the bubble talks? Yeah, let them talk. It's interesting. Got into a little bit of school of thought on the contrary argument. I don't. It's great. I don't think those guys do it for any other reason other than just to point out the obvious. Over the, I mean, Vanguard sitting on 6 trillion, 5.5 trillion right now. Of course it's a bubble. Does it mean it's going to pop? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, are they, if they're proven true later on down the line, then they're right. If it proves not to be true, then they're wrong. I don't understand why people come on and they speak, or it gets misconstrued as so definitive, because I didn't take it that way. I really didn't. I thought they were just making a very simple point based on some research. And I thought it was an interesting point. I was smarter for it. I didn't agree. It's my prerogative not to agree. That's fine. All right. Josh, I was thinking about the same question. Index bubble. What Ryan thinks. That's what I think. I would be more concerned at this point with the obvious, and that is the market is at an all-time high. I'm happy with the positions that I have right now, both in indexing and ETFs, which aren't that big relative to the total overall portfolio. I'm happy with that. However, I'm more happy owning the ETFs and index funds than not owning them at all, if that helps answer my perspective on it. I'm not going to listen to one person and adjust my whole philosophy based on one person's opinion. Okay. There was some research done up on the topic. That's fine. It doesn't mean that it's going to come true. It doesn't. People who talk in definitives like they know exactly what the market has to offer, walk the other way, or listen with a filter. Okay. You don't have to react to everything that you hear. It's okay to consume information, but you don't have to just go out and believe it as if it's gospel. Because when it comes to the stock market, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Okay. It can revolve around these topics, but you gotta be kind of careful with the information that you consume. It can lead to irrational decisions for your program, which is way more important than somebody else's opinion. Okay. Personal finance is grounded in education and introspection. Our society seems to neglect these basic fundamentals. Um, I agree. I agree with that. I don't really believe you can outsmart the market. I know a lot of smarties that fail in the stock market. I know a lot of people who aren't very smart who win in the stock market. So having an education and being able to do what? Outpace the market? That is one of those things that not a lot of people get to enjoy to do. Okay. Now, there are products that you can enter into that allow you to not have to be the smartest guy in the room, smartest guy or gal. There are analysts out there that are very good at losing 20% a year in the hedge funds, um, and nobody calls them out on it. They're very smart people, very, very fundamentally and technically smart in evaluating stock. I think if I think if everybody could just educate themselves up and win in the stock market, that everybody would do it. It's not that easy, and that's really what makes a market, honestly. I would rather try to control the market, control my decisions, try to curtail the market, um, buy proven strategies such as diversification. So you know you're not getting diversification by entering into single stock and being a stock picker. Can you succeed at stock picking? Sure, you can. Sure. But we're trying to appeal to the majority of people who, like you say, personal finance is a little bit different. Personal finance really renders your opportunity to become a better investor because it frees up capital. Personal finance to me comes through budgeting, money saving initiatives, living below your means. That's what personal finance means to me. I don't lump investing into personal finance because you can be a very savvy personal finance follower in your own life, do things that make sense for you and not invest. Okay. It just makes you a better candidate to invest. Because if you're a mess on the personal finance side, you're not going to be a candidate to even invest. I'm not going to tell you to invest if you're in debt. It's silly. So I put the two in two schools of thought, but interesting enough, I've been very successful at investing, and I'm not the smartest investor by that comment or that definition. Um, and I think a lot of people can invest and succeed in doing so without a lot of wherewithal in the market. Um, you know, the time will tell for those folks that are entering into passive investments, which you don't need to be educated to invest in those. Let's be real. Let's be real. If you educated yourself up on the difference of entering into an ETF in a taxable brokerage account, as opposed to entering into the same ETF in a self-directed Roth IRA account, I think you'd be very, very you'd be ahead of the curve. You really would. Um, you'd be ahead of the curve in a lot of different ways, in that in the self-directed account, you're saving on the fees and you're saving on um, the tax implication. So in 30 years, would you win with a program like that? How much education would you need to enter into a program like that? I contend very little. And it's something that a lot of people can do. Um, Yeah, I don't know. I think society does neglect those basic fundamentals because they're busy doing other things. I think so. The idea is that neglect isn't by nature of being naive. It's just a product of either not wanting to know or being predispositioned on other obligations. So I think the point of the independent investor channel, and I said I wouldn't do this channel if I didn't have a reason to do the channel. My reasoning is there are other options, that of which nobody really knows about. They don't. And I would contend that it's in everybody's best interest to go ahead and research those other options. All right. With that said, guys, that's a hell of a comment to leave on. I really appreciate that. I wish I could speak on it more. I didn't get to some of these. I do apologize, but I'd have to go for another hour, and I can't do that. I've been going over a couple hours tonight. Very successful live stream again tonight. Thank you so much for coming in, showing your support. Thank you again to the channel creators that have come in. Thank you for the engaging conversation tonight. Very smart. I hate to leave some of these smart comments on the table. I really do. I wish I could get to them, but I can't. 2 hours for the replay, folks, is I want to be fair to those folks so they have an opportunity to flip it on when they're at the gym, pump an iron for 2 hours and 5 minutes and 41 seconds on the Independent Investor live stream. Again, we'll be with you hopefully next Friday. I think next Friday we'll do a live stream, but the week after I may go to some 6A high school football. I will be catching Oscar Smith here locally. So looking forward to that. If you want to, and you're still tuning in, Google Oscar Smith opening. It's rated the best high school football opening for any high school football team in the nation. They come out of the cage. Okay, so Google the cage, Oscar Smith. You'll love it. Very entertaining. Okay, sponsored by Under Armour. There's a professional rapper that actually put in a song for these. They're legit. They're very good. They contend every year, but I may go with a friend in a couple weeks' time to the Oscar Smith home game and enjoy, take my son and show him a real high school football game. But anyway, with that, guys, I will sign off. We will catch you next Friday. Enjoy this week's upload schedule and catch you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Thanks so much.